know the true spirit of Mexico through art. Okay, so there's a lot of art to appreciate in Mexico, and what makes it so special is the earnestness of it, and it also has strong origins. An overabundance of pieces of carved stone and even some colorful and elaborate literature or codices remind of how people have expressed themselves and their communities within the continent. When it is most abstract, there's a certain familiarity that emerges in Mexico both old and new. Art is life, and this is greatly promoted by the endless dialogue that ensues in a place like Mexico where different forms freely blend into one another. With many roots come many arts. Mexican folk art is so evocative precisely because it draws from a well of traditions and resplendent natural beauty. These nature and traditions inform that whole communities in Mexico have developed unique and meaningful ties to the world that surrounds them. Folk art in general serve as continuous source of inspiration, especially in places like Latin America, as it has completely come into its own way from the influence of major artistic movements like the European Renaissance. In this sense, it is much more limitless as it is free from the scrutiny that has upon what we consider classical art, and to this end it can be described as a pretty fearless form of self-expression. Artistic manifestation of people through nature. In much of the Latin world, animals represent wisdom, which of course is important if the way you perceive and evaluate life is largely related to the way you're interacting with the natural world. This explains why there is a caseless obsession with incorporating animalistic likeness in Mexican folk art. They represent the human spirit. One of the examples is the rooster, whose image is particularly popular in the northern states where it is hot and dry. Its rambunctiousness is viewed as an expression of the sun in so much that it represents strength and imposition that is required by ranching life. Absorbing and noting the subtle change in locals' attitudes through the art that they make is crucial if you would like to gain a significant understanding about the meaning of Mexican folk art.
The next thing is different parts of Mexico express themselves uniquely. Many places have specialties, and it is quite common for travelers to head to a region that has gained information about certain artworks. For example, the traveler go to Puebla, and there's a strong tradition of vase and container making that is absolutely beautiful. The second, Talavera clay pieces are made following sophisticated mechanism of production, and Guanajuato is well known for the incorporation of plant life. The next thing is murals that tell profound stories. Mexicans are extremely proud of their history through art, and with this in mind, a very sound place to start is by admiring the works of the country's top muralists. And the biggest genre for Mexican mural art is criticism, and an artist that personifies criticism style is David Alvaro Siqueiros, whose work can be described as a straight-up rejection of society. The steadfast character of the muralist shines through the complexities of various elements in the murals. And another unmissable muralist, Jose Clemente Orozco, who may be described as articulating Mexican morality through the creation of big scenes. And the Mexican muralist Diego Rivera, whose work is easily the most influential, has produced more clean-cut works that are more true to daily life. So, the last thing is a land of untamed art. Mexican art is special, vibrant, colorful, and often just plain mesmerizing. The vast diversity within Mexico has allowed artistic expression to go down in wonderfully evocative directions. It might be said that this art speaks to the human experience and it is universal. Art as a way of life is the exception and not the rule for most people. However, in Mexico, most see it the other way around. It's this intimacy and unabashed attitudes toward art that prevails and makes Mexican art so powerful and worth seeing in person.
Hello friends! So after you hear about the history of Mexican art from Nidia and Shiva, now it's my turn to show you the visualization about Mexican art. So here I have my pattern. I have already made this and now I will put color on the pattern and turn it into the colorful painting art. Actually, there are many styles in painting. But today I choose mural as an example. Why? Because mural is modern style of painting that very famous in Mexico. If you go to Mexico, you will find many beautiful murals in the city. Palacio, one of the city in Mexico, became a place where many artists show their beautiful mural as an outdoor museum. Besides painting, Mexico also has many kinds of arts, such as papercraft, handcraft, like woodcraft, claycraft, or something that made by flannel cloth, vases, and others. As a Mexican folk art, it mostly uses characteristic and style like animalistic, which is use animal as their object in the painting. It also becomes a representation of the human spirit. Every city in Mexico they has their own famous art. In Puebla they have clay as the material of the art. In Guanajuato they have plain as the material of the art. And in Oaxaca they have craft as their famous art. Do you know who is the famous artist in Mexico? I have one. His name is David Alvaro Siqueiros. His characteristic in his painting is political criticism, and one of his paintings named War Like Sin.
So hello guys, and today I'm gonna show you the tutorial of Mexico mural painting, and I'm gonna explain you a little bit about Mexican art itself. So let's get started. Mexican folk art is so evocative precisely because it draws from a wealth of tradition and resplendent natural beauty, ranging from lush jungle to serene deserts that are as diverse as anywhere else on the planet. Mexican art is special, vibrant, colorful, and often just plain mesmerizing because it is derived from long-standing tradition that the native populations have kept alive within their communities. The vast diversity within Mexico has allowed artistic expression to go down in wonderfully evocative directions, and in this manner, there have been a plethora of directions both in terms of inspiration and practice. It might be said that this art speaks to the human experience and is universal. As such, it has received a lot of respect and appreciation in recent memory, particularly in parts of the world that don't have the wealth of indigenous communities. Art as a way of life in this exception and not the rule for most people. However, in Mexico, most see it the other way around. It is the intimacy and unabashed attitude towards art that prevails and makes Mexican art so powerful and worth seeing in person. So this is the result of my painting, and Thank you and see ya!